Let me guess, you're working back-to-back 12-hour shifts. You're on your feet all day, running around at work, running around at home, and you're always exhausted, but you're not losing any weight. You don't feel comfortable in clothes. Your body isn't toned yet, and you're starting to think like something's wrong with you, like your body's broken. If you're a nurse who's working out consistently, eating better, but still not seeing results, this video is for you. Today, I'm breaking down the 5 biggest reasons why most registered nurses struggle to lose weight and build lean muscle so they can be toned, feel sexy and confident, and I'm gonna go over how to fix them. I've been coaching nurses now for the past 5 years, and I started working at MedStar Hospital during COVID, working one-on-one with nurses. I've coached so many different types of nurses, staff nurses, correctional nurses, LPNs, even respiratory therapists, all spectrums of healthcare. They all have the same issue. They're doing all these things, all these different meal plans, all these different workouts, and they're not seeing results, right? And the problem isn't them. The problem isn't even what they're doing. It's what they're doing was not made for their lifestyle. The plans, the strategies they're doing is not conducive for someone working 12-hour shifts, someone whose cortisol is always high, someone who's probably a single mom of 2, 3 kids. It just doesn't work. And that is the real reason why these nurses can't lose the weight, because they're doing something that was never made for them. All right, so here's the first issue that I see a lot of nurses making on this journey to lose weight and improve their health. They're not eating enough. And I know, again, this is part of the traditional a way of trying to get in shape, and especially trying to lose weight. You want to limit your calories, you want to eat less. But like I said earlier, these traditional and conventional methods of weight loss just don't correlate with a nurse's lifestyle. So I get so many nurses telling me when they first come into the program, oh, I'm eating 1,200 calories. Oh, I'm eating 1,400 calories. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is just not the way. And let me explain, right? So when you are chronically under eating, right? So that means you're eating less for a long period of time. What that does is slows down your metabolism. Now, obviously you're a nurse. If you're watching this, you're a nurse, you know what the metabolism does, the metabolic rate, you know the functions within the body. And when you have a slow metabolism, you're not going to burn fat efficiently. When the metabolism is slow, everything moving in your body, all the processes happen at a very slow rate, especially weight loss, especially how the cells clean themselves. So how do we fix this? Like, what is the fix? And it's very simple. We have to eat more. And all of my clients, when they come into the program, they're just like, oh, mind blown. Like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, yes, you actually have to eat more, but obviously more of the right foods, not Hershey bars or Snickers or potato chips. No. You have to eat more of the right foods to help your body speed up your metabolism so you can start to lose weight. And this is the first issue, again, that I see a lot of nurses make, respiratory therapists, doctors, people working in healthcare that are trying to lose weight. They're not eating enough. They're not eating enough. And once they start to fix this issue, they're going to start to see results in their weight loss. So the second reason why a lot of nurses are struggling to lose weight and build lean muscle is they're not working for their goals, right? The workouts that they're performing are not conducive for the body, for the physique that they're looking for. So, give you an example. Most of the time when somebody comes to the program, right, we get a new nurse in the program and we, kind of get history of what they've been doing, all we hear is cardio, HIIT, Pilates, CrossFit. And all these exercises are great, but they're just not, like I said before, what nurses need to be doing to lose the weight. Let me explain. Now, these exercises, except for Pilates, unless you're doing like hot yoga Pilates, are very cardio intensive, right? They're very extreme, and cortisol is released in our body when we push ourselves in these extreme workouts. So when we're running, when we're doing boxing, high intensity interval training, cardio, these exercises elicit more cortisol production in our body. And if you've watched any of my other trainings, I go over how cortisol is such a major player in weight gain, but also weight retainment, right? So again, these nurses they're doing all this cardio, they're doing all this CrossFit 4, 5, 6 days a week and wondering like the weight isn't coming off, like what's going on? And if only they knew that what they need to do is switch the style of workouts that they're doing, right? So this is what nurses need to be doing. Nurses need to be strength training and mobility training. right? Strength training is gonna actually help you build lean muscle. So the curves that you want, the toned body that you want, that is all muscle. But if you're making the first mistake of not eating enough, you're not able to fuel the muscle, right? And second, if you're making the mistake of only doing cardio, the cortisol production in your body is through the roof. So you're not even building muscle and your body is not getting the chance to actually be comfortable and decompress because it's filled with cortisol round the clock. So the fix, like I said, strength training plus mobility training. The strength training is going to help you build lean muscle. The mobility training is going to help you decompress from work, decompress from all the standing around, the achy joints, and it's going to help you lower the cortisol. Most of my clients, after they come back from shifts, they have mobility training to perform, and it's always in their workouts because this is what's going to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, right? The part of your nervous system that calms you down. So if you want to lose the fat, if you want to build lean muscle, you have to be strength training. You have to be performing mobility training. Now, this is the third reason that a lot of nurses are struggling to lose the weight and build that lean muscle so they can feel confident. So they're chasing activity. They're chasing, oh, I just need to do more. And they're using that as an overcompensation for doing the right thing. And it's not always intentional, right? Like I talked about earlier, all this cardio, all this high intensity interval training does not really help nurses lose the weight because of the nature of their jobs, right? So we'll have a lot of nurses come in and they will just be a little resistant, a little hesitant to switching their style of training because they feel like, oh, they get through the strength training workout in about like 45, 50 minutes. And yeah, it was a little tough, but it wasn't the same as what they're used to. It wasn't the same as, you know, you just ran for an hour and you're drenched in sweat and you're exhausted. And that's when you feel like, yes, I just did something. I just got a burn. But that is a huge mistake. That is a huge red flag. If every workout you need to feel destroyed, you need to feel crushed, number one, that could lead to injury. But number two, that's never going to allow your body to feel comfortable enough to lose the weight. So instead of chasing the burn, instead of chasing this exhausted feeling after a gym, you want to chase efficiency, right? So when you're in the gym and you're performing your strength training workouts, you want to chase, can I lift more than I did last month, right? As we progressively overload the weight, that's what's going to stimulate hypertrophy, right? And hypertrophy is your body building muscle. That is a process of your body building muscle. And if you're not in hypertrophy, you're not going to build muscle, right? And if you're constantly doing cardio, you can never be in hypertrophy. So we need to not be constantly doing cardio because we want to enter hypertrophy, and that's how we achieve that toned look, right? That toned look that you put on a dress and your curves are showing, your body's showing. You can only achieve that if the style of training that you are performing leads into hypertrophy, right? So that is the fix for always trying to chase this burn, always trying to chase activity. I make this joke to some people all the time. You could be on a treadmill and running and doing so much activity, but somebody who's walking outside can walk a mile at a slow pace and be further than you, right? So don't confuse activity and constant motion with actually progression and moving forward. Okay, so this is another silent killer for nurses who are trying to lose this weight and are just struggling, right? It's the recovery. The first reason I mentioned kind of plays along with this, right? Fueling your body correctly. That's a huge part of recovery. The silent steps, the silent subgroups of recovery are sleep and hydration. Sleep and hydration, and I know from my night shift nurses, this is something that they always struggle with. When your body is growing, when your body is building muscle, it's not in the gym. No one builds muscle in the gym. All you're doing in the gym is breaking down muscle tissue, ripping apart muscle fibers. And then when you sleep, that's when it recovers. That's when all the healing process happens. That's when your HGH growth hormones are released. Two people can sleep for 8 hours. One person hit REM sleep, third stage sleep, for about 4 hours, but the other person hit REM sleep for about 1 hour. REM sleep is where all those deep stage cleansings and growth are happening. So if you're not in REM sleep, you're not really growing. That's why I'm sure you've slept before, probably even 10 hours, and you wake up and like, you're still exhausted. Like you woke up, you're like, oh my gosh, like you barely slept, but you just slept for like 9 hours. because you didn't get adequate sleep, right? So cutting out the phone, cutting out any type of blue light prior to going to sleep about an hour before is really helpful, because this allows the hormones in your body to set in a position of, okay, we're about to rest, like we're about to shut down, we're about to start healing, right? So cutting out blue light before you sleep is huge. Cutting out food 2 hours before sleeping is huge. If I eat something right now and then I go to bed 10 minutes later, especially if I had something like thick, like a rice or like a chicken or something like that, I'm not sleeping. My eyes are shut, but I'm not sleeping. Why? Because my digestive system is digesting what I just ate. So if you come off a night shift in the morning and you have a full plate of breakfast and you try to go to sleep, you can sleep for 8 hours. But like I hinted earlier, you will not get as much REM sleep because the first 3 hours of your sleep, your body was digesting the food. So sleep is so crucial, so imperative when it comes to actually performing the right things that lead to weight loss, right? And I know sometimes a lot of people, once they hear things like this, they're like, oh, this is too much. Well, that's why you're not where you want to be yet, because you want to stick with easy things. Oh, I'll just take an Ozempic and do an hour of cardio and I'll be at my goals. But you're not at your goals and you've been struggling. So this is the way. This is the science-backed way to get rid of that body fat, build the lean muscle, and feel confident again. So you got to get the recovery in. Now, water. You guys know about 70-75% of your body is made out of water. For your muscles to recover adequately, you need water. And for the bloating and for the cramps, you need water. So water is a vital component to help your body lose fats, right? I know some people, this is big for some people, like they're used to drinking juices and sodas and vitamin water, but not actual H2O. Like they probably drink 2 glasses of water a day, but they're always getting cramps up in the gym. They're always getting so tired. It's because you don't have water. 70% of your body is water. You need to be drinking 1 water bottle like every other hour. Water plus sleep and stretching, right? I mentioned the mobility training earlier with the exercises. I don't want to harp on that, but these are the components that make the circle of recovery and actually allow you to start to lose weight and build lean muscle. All right, so the last mistake that I see a lot of nurses making when they're trying to improve their health and lose this weight is they're chasing this perfection approach. They're chasing that they have to do everything right, and when they fail, they give up. When they don't do everything right, it turns into like a 2, 3, 4 month hiatus from their plan. And they think that if they mess up on a meal today or they miss a workout this week, oh, my hands are up. I'm giving up. I'll start next week, Monday. I'll start next Christmas. I'll start next holiday. And all this does is pushes your goals further down the road. All this does is, instead of being fit and toned in 2026, now you have to wait till 2027. And then you make a few mistakes in 2027, now you gotta wait till 2028. There's no such thing as perfect, especially being a registered nurse. Your schedule is so sporadic and all over the place, especially if you have kids. There is no such thing as perfection. Perfection is being consistent. Nurses need to focus on being consistent. Being consistent through working 3 days, being consistent through working 4 days, being consistent through working 5 12-hour shifts in a week. It's going to be really hard to be perfect during those weeks. You're super exhausted. You have family demands, you have personal demands. So if you add in the stress of chasing perfection and you don't hit that mark, now you're shooting yourself in the foot, right? Now you're making yourself more stressed. Dr. Will Cole wrote Gut Feelings, and he expounds on this profoundly. But he talks about how the thought of failure, of not hitting your goals that you set because you want to be perfect, actually makes the body produce more cortisol. And it keeps you in that cycle of high cortisol, high weight retainment, right? Super fascinating. Definitely go read that book. But if you want to hit your goals, if you want to actually lose this weight and keep it off, focus on consistency over perfection, because that is the common denominator for anybody who's trying to be successful at anything, right? Not perfection, just consistency. And it's the same aspect here. All right, so let's do a quick recap. If you're a registered nurse trying to lose weight and keep it off so you can have more energy, feel more confident in yourself, these are the mistakes that you have to stop doing, right? So you have to stop underfueling yourself. You have to eat proper food, right? You have to stop doing excessive amounts of cardio thinking that's what's going to help you get the weight off. But in reality, it's actually increasing your cortisol and making your body retain the fat and keep the fat versus burning it off, right? Number three, you have to start training for your goals properly. You have to start performing strength training. You have to start performing mobility training. You have to start focusing on progressively overloading your muscles instead of just trying to burn yourself out in the gym because that's when you feel like you're working, right? Number four, you have to recover properly. Somebody can eat the right foods, work out correctly, but if they're getting 3 hours of sleep because they're scrolling on TikTok all night or scrolling on Fashion Nova for 4 hours and they cut out their sleep time, they are not going to get adequate results. All of these things are essential to getting to your goals, right? And number five, you have to chase consistency. Forget perfection. It doesn't exist. You have to be consistent. That's how we get to your goals. So if this video hit home for you and you were watching and like the light bulbs were going off in your head and you're like, this brother knows what he's talking about, definitely click the link in my description and apply for my one-on-one coaching program where we dive deeper into all of these mistakes and more and help you build a comprehensive plan around your lifestyle so you can be consistent and finally lose the weight and keep it off. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you in future videos. Peace.